Good morning. Welcome to the First Universalist Church of Yarmouth. My name is Mary Cheney, and I'm a member of our Spiritual Care Council, and I'm so happy to see you all here this morning. I want to offer a warm welcome to all of you gathered here in the sanctuary, and also to our friends joining us on Zoom. At First Universalist, our mission is to explore our faith, embrace our community, and to engage in the world as spiritual seekers. May we take these words to heart now more than ever. If this is your first time in our congregation, we invite you to fill out a connection card located in front of you in your pew, so we may connect you with programs. We may connect you with programs that interest you. You can drop this in the offering plate when it is passed later in the service. For those of you joining us with young children, nursery care is available during our service for babies and toddlers. Our nursery is located down the hall, out this side door, and down the hallway on the left. Following our service, all are welcome to join us for the coffee hour downstairs in our gathering room. This is our time of friendship, fellowship, good food, and answers to all your questions at our welcome table. Before we begin the worship, I of course have a few announcements. Next Sunday, following our worship service, our children and youth will be hosting our annual Friendsgiving potluck. We hope you'll join us at this festive gathering, and you are invited, but not required, to bring a potluck dish to share. Second, we are collecting items for the Yarmouth Food Pantry Thanksgiving drive through this Wednesday. The pantry has asked us to donate bottles of shelf-stable juice and cans of condensed milk. If you are able to donate these items, please bring them to church and put them in the gathering room for us to deliver. Thank you for your generosity. Third, directly following our service today, Reverend Hillary will be leading our monthly Soul Matters discussion on our November theme of repair. All are welcome to grab a coffee and a snack and meet her in the common room for a thoughtful and spirited discussion. And fourth, I've been asked to announce that we want you to all come and have fun with other UUs at our holiday fair on December 7th. Sign-up sheets are in the gathering room. Soup containers are now located in the kitchen. The holiday crew thanks you for your participation. I now invite you to take a deep breath and be here now as we settle into our time together. Our music director, Sam Chandler, will lead us into worship.
Good morning. How are you? Oh. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. I'm Reverend Hillary. I serve as the minister here, and it is with peace and friendship and spiritual care that I say, whoever you are, wherever you're from, whomever you love, whatever it is you have done or need to do, and wherever you find yourself on this weird and wild and occasionally wonderful journey of life, you are welcome here. You are welcome here. And we are so glad that you too have joined us in peace and friendship this morning. Today, friends, we are joined by members of our Spiritual Care Council. This is a newly formed, I like the hallelujah hands. That's how I feel about them, absolutely. This is a newly formed council that has been in the works for about a year, and it is a great boon to our shared ministry and the overall wellness of our beloved community. The Spiritual Care Council is a group of trained First U members who are here to support and companion you through emotionally and spiritually challenging times. In line with the themes of the past months, invitation, deep listening, and now this month, repair, if you reach out to the Spiritual Care Council for support, you will be met with someone who will invite you to be your full, whole, complex self, someone who will listen to you deeply and attentively, and someone who will not try to fix you or fix the problem you are working with, but rather will companion you on your path towards healing and restoration. Right? Each Sunday going forward, there will be a spiritual care counselor present here at church and downstairs at coffee hour in case you need some spiritual TLC or just a warm wave or nod. You also might receive a note from one of our spiritual care members if you light a candle on Sundays. You do not have to talk to these guys if you don't want to. And if you do, what you share will be kept confidential, even between council members, unless you say otherwise. And my friends, my good friends, the Spiritual Care Council is not a replacement for my role as a pastoral caregiver. I am still here for all the joys and sorrows and concerns of your daily lives, and happily, the Spiritual Care Council is now too. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce the members of our Spiritual Care Council. We have Mary Cheney. Hi, Mary. We have Cheryl McGilvery. We have Joanna Landsman, Sarah Whitty, and Joe Dreyer. And lifting their voices now, they will introduce themselves by way of our words of invocation, a poem by Rosemary Watola Trummer entitled For When We Greet Each Other. Who's reading first?
For When We Greet Each Other by Rosemary Watola Trummer. I want a new ritual where when we meet each other, strangers or beloveds, friends or rivals, elders or children.
It begins by holding each other's eyes, the way we behold sunrises or the first cherry blossoms, which is to say, to assume we'll find beauty there.
And perhaps some display of open hands, a gesture with palms up that suggests both I offer myself to you and I receive you.
There should be a quiet moment in which we hear each other's breath, knowing it is the sound of the ocean inside of us.
If there are words at all, let them be formed mostly of vowels, so they're heard more as song than as spitting, more like river current and less like throwing stones.
Words that mean something like, I do not know what you carry, but in this moment, I will help you carry it.
Or something like, everything depends on us all treating each other well.
And if we said it enough, perhaps we believe it. And if we believed it enough, perhaps we'd live it.
Treating every other human like someone who holds our very existence in their hands.
Like someone whose life has been given us to serve, even if it's only to walk together safely down the street, hold a door, pass the salt, share a sunset, offer a smile, and say with our actions, you belong.
Thank you, friends. I now invite you all to turn to your neighbors and greet them, and perhaps share an action with them that says you belong. And my friends, will you rise in body and spirit with me now and join in singing our opening hymn, number 1045. It's in your teal hymnal, There is a Balm in Gilead.
There is a balm in Gilead to make the wounded whole.
Unison affirmation. We are united in seeking to increase love with justice and to constitute a free church open to all people. Mindful of our past and drawing upon modern knowledge, we respond to the spiritual needs of others and another to the common good in community, nation, and world. We cherish the integrity of each individual and search for truth with reason as our guide. We respect differences of opinion and strive to be a democratic community. We are concerned with this world and open to the future.
So this is the time in our service when we light our chalice, which is a symbol of Unitarian Universalism around the world. But for me, it's also a reminder each Sunday that this place, this space, this community is sanctuary where we care for one another and are cared by each other. So now I'd like to invite children, if there are any children here this morning who would like to help me light the chalice. Now is a perfect time to come on up. Good morning. Good morning. All right. Do you know what we do? Our chalice lighting words. I think I might need somebody to hold this microphone while I do that. Would you like to do that? Maybe you could even say the words out loud.
We light our chalice with peace and friendship.
Okay, ready? Make a wish. Good job. Thank you.
Thanks, Joanna. So who was here last Sunday? Wow, that's great. Good job, guys. Welcome to those who were not here last Sunday. Those who were, do you remember that thing we did to calm our vagus nerve? The nerve, the biggest bundle of nerves that runs all up and down our body and regulates our nervous system, our parasympathetic nervous system. Do you remember what we did? What did we do? We hummed. Oh, yes. Who's been humming this week? Humming right along. Well, I was thinking, before we get too into our time for wonder, we could kick it off with another collective hum. I don't know if anyone's still feeling a little anxious or nervy. Anyone still feeling a little anxious or nervy? All right, how about a hum then? And it's just going to be a continuous hum for about a minute. Take a long, slow breath in, and then a slow breath out, and then another long, slow breath in, and a hum out. All right? Wonderful. It's so powerful to hear. Does that feel powerful out there? The collective hum? So our beloved spiritual council here, they just read a poem that talked about the ways we greet each other. And it ended with a line, or it included a line about actions that make someone feel like they belong. And this poem made me think about something we did on Wednesday night. We had a little conversation here about how we were feeling and the things that are making us feel powerless and helpless, and the things that are making us feel empowered and helpful right now. And we began our time, about 20-something of us, sitting in a circle, and we all said our name, and we made a gesture that we believe symbolized welcome. Who was at that conversation? Does anyone remember that? Do you remember the gesture you gave? Kit, you made a heart. That's right. What other gestures did folks make? We did hands outright. Yeah, beautiful. As you ponder that question for yourself right now, what is a gesture you could make that you feel is a sign of welcome or might make someone feel that they belong? Oh. Hugging? What was that? Is it bringing in? I like the bringing in. Big hug. Oh, opening up. Oh, tapping the chest. What about, I'm not seeing much from this corner over here. Oh, come over. Yeah, that, like, very confident. Come on over, have a seat. I like that. What about in the back left? Nothing? Someone went like this. It's real. Beautiful. Well, I welcome you to keep that in mind today, and whatever feeling that evoked for you as you thought about that gesture and as you enacted that gesture, I wonder if you could bring that feeling out these doors today, and perhaps even try to say hello and make eye contact with everyone you pass by. Just try that today. Something to do with your mind in this state of nervousness and isolation or separation many of us might be feeling. It's hard. That's a hard challenge for New Englanders. We like to smile. I often call it the grimace smile when we see each other. It often looks like, and we look away. But what would it be to look at someone and say hi? That's all you have to do. Hi. 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 Just try that today. All right. And with that, we are going to send our children off to Children's Chapel, thanks to Jen and Kristen. Is Kristen here? And Kristen, who are leading a very artsy, craftsy Children's Chapel. And before they go, let's say our children's blessing. We are Unitarian Universalists, people of open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands. Go in peace, friends. See you later. Have fun.
This is the time in our service for quiet contemplation and meditation. This could be your time to reflect on the events of the past week, to look forward to days ahead, to offer a prayer of loving kindness, or to simply be here now, letting go in this moment. Following this time of quiet, I'll ring a chime, and all are welcome to come forward and light a candle of joy, sorrow, or concern. And those on Zoom are welcome to type your joy or concern into the chat. And Joanna, who is running the Zoom this morning, will read them aloud, and I will light a candle on your behalf. But first, everyone, please join me in taking a deep, peaceful breath in, a calming breath out, and enter into a time of sacred silence.
At First U, we share our offering with social justice partners every week. Today's half plate goes to the Seeds of Peace. Seeds of Peace brings young leaders and educators from all over the world together to address global conflicts in a traditional summer camp setting in Maine. Participants gain skills and develop relationships essential for promoting social, economic, and political change for peace in their homelands. After graduation, they are encouraged to engage in ongoing relationships and leadership development programs. The Seeds of Peace Network boasts over 7,000 alumni actively driving changes in their communities. For those in the sanctuary this morning, we will be passing the offering plate to one another. For those gathered with us online, you are invited to make your offering using the donate button in the order of worship or by dropping a check in the mail. Thank you for your generosity.
Friends, will you again rise in body and spirit and join in singing our song of thanksgiving? The short verses are in your order of worship. Thank you for your generosity. You may be seated. Our reading this morning is by the Nobel-winning Polish poet and activist Wisława Szymborska. It's titled, "A Word on Statistics." A word on statistics. Out of every 100 people, those who always know better, 52. Unsure of every step, almost all the rest. Ready for help? Ready to help if it doesn't take too long? 49. Always good because they cannot be otherwise? 4. Maybe 5. Able to admire without envy? 18. Led to error by youth, which passes? 60, plus or minus. Those not to be messed with? 40 and 4. Living in constant fear of someone or something? 77. Capable of happiness? 20 some odd at most. Harmless alone, turning savage in crowds? More than half, for sure. Cruel when forced by circumstances? It's better not to know, not even approximately. Wise in hindsight? Not many more than wise in foresight. Getting nothing out of life except things? 30, though I'd like to be wrong. Doubled over in pain and without a flashlight in the dark? 83, sooner or later. Those who are just? Quite a few at 35. But if it takes effort to understand? 3. Worthy of empathy? 99. Mortal? 100 out of 100. A figure that has never varied yet. When you work at a boarding school, as I did on multiple occasions, you're often charged with responsibilities that may or may not match your skill set. For instance, at one school, despite having never picked up a stick nor being able to skate backwards, I was once named the junior varsity girls hockey coach. It was not a great season. I also had to regularly drive school buses full of other people's children all over New England, leading to that one afternoon when, as I cruised down the Fells Way outside of Boston, I took off a whole line of rear view mirrors on parked cars. Ka-chunk, 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 ka-chunk. The field hockey team was amused. And then there was that time I was asked to sub for an algebra class for a week. The kids had to explain the homework to me. We can do the things we think we cannot do, my friends. Not always well, but we can do them. They can be done. One of the most meaningful and challenging roles I was handed in my boarding school days was that of school harassment counselor. Yeah. As an ordained minister and chaplain of that school, the administration and Office of Student Wellness felt I was cut out for it. The role required me to mediate and discern situations between students involving threatening behavior, cyberbullying, sexual harassment and assault, hate speech, and other issues affecting an individual's or group's sense of safety on campus. When such a situation arose, and sadly it often did, I would meet with all parties affected and implicated, counsel those involved, and advise the administration on the best way to move forward, either with discipline, restoration, a watchful eye, all of the above, and/or more. For whatever reason, for all the reasons, one particular experience from this job arose in my memories this week and stayed there, echoing a teaching. I'd like to tell you about it. It's a Friday in October, and I am sitting in my office facing a freshman boy who's been accused of cyberbullying and publicly shaming another freshman whom he believes is gay. He's rallied a few of his classmates to also harass this boy online and in person throughout the day and night. I've already met with the boy who is the recipient of these attacks, and he barely utters a word for fear that someone will find out he ratted and make his life even more miserable. As someone who was gay her freshman year and faced similar experiences, going into this conversation with the accused, I had little patience to muster for him. One spark of hope glimmered in the dark, though, my sense of curiosity. I was curious about the reasons this boy had for behaving in such a cruel way. And to me, that curiosity was a sign that despite holding great disdain for his actions, I did care about him and his experience. After explaining why he'd been called in and hearing the kid admit apathetically with an eye roll that he was guilty as charged, I asked him why he had led such an attack on another kid. He shrugged, looking away. I breathed, furrowed my brow, and asked, "Are you okay?" He was non-responsive. Recalling the oft-used turn of phrase, hurt people, I responded to my silent companion, "You see, to me, the way you've been behaving is a red flag that a person is not okay. So I'm worried about you, and I'd like to know, are you doing okay? You can talk to me. I'm not against you." Silence and stillness from the boy. I paused and became silent and still as well, staring at the ground between us, until I noticed his hand lifting to his face to wipe away tears streaming down his cheeks. I handed him tissues, and he took them, avoiding my eyes. We didn't say much more to each other. I told him he could talk to me whenever he wanted, and asked if he thought maybe sometime he would. He nodded. "Okay," I said, standing up. I'm here. I'm going to tell the dean we met and a little bit about our conversation." "Okay," he mumbled, picking up his bag and walking out the door. Out of 100 people, those who are cruel when forced by circumstances, it is better not to know, not even approximately. Those worthy of empathy, 99. I met with the dean of students later that day and made my recommendation that the boy be put on various restrictions on campus and assigned a research paper on hate crimes and restorative justice that I would supervise. She agreed. Later that night, though, she called me and told me she was expelling the boy. I was upset with the news and asked that a restorative justice approach be taken. She said no. This boy did not belong in the school. He was packing up his room now, and his mother would be picking him up the following morning. I was mad, confused, and worried how this formative experience would stay with this kid, who clearly was struggling. Unlike much of the student body, he was not wealthy, and unlike me and those who determined his fate, he was not white. Ultimately, though, I was powerless against the administration. Out of 100 people, those who are just, quite a few at 35. But if it takes effort to understand, 3. Over the weekend, the campus was shaken by the boy's sudden absence. Despite his mean streak, he was quite popular, and many students were upset and confused that he was suddenly gone without saying goodbye. When I checked in with those impacted by his bullying, they expressed that the whole thing happened really fast, and they still, weirdly, really felt unsafe. And that was that. Life went on, and that unresolved, painful experience lodged itself somewhere in a bunch of us. And for whatever reason, for all the reasons, it dislodged in me this week. Out of every 100 people, those who always know better, 52. Unsure of every step, almost all the rest. In times of anxiety, the mind wants nothing more than to achieve control and make sense of things. We attempt to achieve this relief by rushing to conclusions, blaming somebody, hating something, rejecting a feeling, declaring a good guy, expelling that kid. This impulse, though, more often than not, usually does not end up reducing our suffering, and actually often serves to compound it, wedging us without wiggle room into a belief about something that we like or don't like, and further concretizing our opinions about the goodness and badness of something that is, well, more complicated than we are allowing ourselves to believe or feel. Not to mention, this approach exacerbates our suffering when we are inevitably forced to encounter the thing we've deemed as bad, wrong, and uncomfortable. As His Holiness the Dalai Lama teaches, seeing suffering as negative and to be avoided at all costs will only add a sense of anxiety and intolerance when you encounter difficult circumstances. If there is a way to overcome the suffering, he says, then there's no need to worry. If there is no way to overcome the suffering, then there is no use in worrying. Remember, he's enlightened. But simply put, rather than worry about everything all the time up here, be with what's right here. Right here. Come down to right here. Because it challenges me, I think often about this experience I sometimes have with my very good friend Dawn. Dawn runs a Buddhist retreat center and has spent a fair amount of time with her mind. Whenever we're driving around together and pass one of those lawn signs that says, "Hate has no home here," she shakes her head. I remember the first time this happened. I turned to her. "What, Dawn? You want hate here?" "No, Hillary, obviously I don't," she said, "but it is here. We can't just reject it or be afraid of it all the time. We need to acknowledge it so we can know it, can face it and work it out, not just say, 'Get away from me. I don't want it.'" During a conversation we held at church this past Wednesday called "What Now?" a post-election discussion, a member of my small breakout group shared that she just hopes some of our elected leaders do the right thing right now. We then pondered as a group, what happens when we turn that hope towards ourselves? What is the right thing we can do right now? I keep thinking about this question. What is the right thing I can do right now? We can do right now. And it was by turning it over and over and over in my mind that I dislodged that memory of that sobbing kid in my office, reminding me that the right thing to do in upsetting and confusing times is to slow down. Slow down. Stay with what is and handle it with care Out of 100 people, those who are mortal, 100 out of 100, a figure that has never varied yet. My friends, our time is limited. Let's not rush it. Many of us are upset by the state of our country and world, and rightly so. And yet, this is still your precious life, and you are still called to live it slowly, with care, right here. If there are words at all, Rosemary Watola Trommer writes, let them be formed mostly of vowels, so they will be heard more as a song. Words that mean something like, I don't know what you carry, but in this moment I will help you carry it. Or something like, everything depends on us treating each other well. And if we said it enough, she writes, perhaps we'd believe it. And if we believed it enough, perhaps we'd live it, treating every other human like someone who holds our very existence in their hands, like someone whose life has been given to us to serve. My good friends, there are and will be many precious lives undone to a much greater extent than many of ours might be in the years ahead. Come down from up here. You are needed. You are needed right here. Right here. Let us open ourselves to this important time on earth carefully, meeting it fully so that we know the joy and sorrow it holds. Let's then act with the goodness that is inherent in us, the goodness we all possess that makes it possible for us to reduce suffering in ourselves and others, the goodness we possess that enables us to be brave and fierce with our love, the goodness in us that allows us to be curious because we care. We can do the things we think we cannot do. We can. We will. We are. We are. You are. Blessed be this precious moment, and blessed be your wild and precious life. Amen. Thank you, Sam. So beautiful. Friends, will you rise again in body and spirit and join in singing our closing hymn, number 318, We Would Be One.
We would be one as now we join in singing our hymn of love to pledge ourselves anew to that high cause of greater understanding of who we are and that it is true. We would be one in living for each other to show the new community. We would be one in living for tomorrow, a nobler world than we have known today. We would be one in searching for that meaning. Recharge our hearts and point us on our way. As one we pledged ourselves to greater service. Without justice, strive to make us free.
Will you remain risen for our closing benediction? And firstly, great gratitude to our spiritual care council. I hope you all talk to them if you need them. May all beings be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. May we all experience profound joy in the causes of profound joy. May we speak actions that say you belong, and may we slow down and remain curious and fierce with our love. And will you join me in the words of our unison benediction? For those who come here seeking God, may God go with you. For those who come embracing life, may life return your affection. For those who come to seek a path, may the way be found and the courage to take it step by step. Go in peace, my friends. The service begins. When the service ends, perhaps we'll see you at the repair conversation downstairs. And do stick around for our postlude sing-along, Circle Round for Freedom.
This is number 155 in your hymnal. If you want to sing along.